So I'm here with Barry Pepper. If you don't know who Barry Pepper is, hey, my name's Eric, and I'd like to introduce you to movies. He's been to a bunch of bangers.
Oh, thank you.
Um, Most recently, Bring Him to Me, which is a pretty fun thriller. Um, I guess I'll start with this. You've played like a bunch of characters, a bunch of different characters. Like, what kind of draws you to a particular movie, and what's kind of some of the characters that really speak to you and that you really enjoy playing?
Well, I've always been drawn to um, character actor roles. I mean, I consider myself a character actor, and and but there's no real rhyme or reason to it, Eric. I receive a script and I just try to um, you know uh, ask myself if I care about it, if I believe it, if it's something that will continue to capture my interest, a year from now when I have to talk to someone like yourself. But I also I really try to avoid, repeating roles. It seems like as a character actor, if you immerse yourself in a role like Lucky Ned Pepper in True Grit or Jackson in Saving Private Ryan, people want you to play that character again. They want you to be another soldier. And yeah, just try to just really try consciously to avoid typecasting. That's all.
Yeah. And in this, this is one, not really a two-hander, but kind of you and Jamie Costa, who I was excited as hell to see Jamie Costa in this. I've seen him in like his shorts doing, like
Yeah.
he, his impressions are amazing.
Yeah.
But then you also have movies like Saving Private Ryan or like Unknown, which by the way, watch that. That movie's awesome. But where you have more of an ensemble, is there, do you kind of take different things with your acting when you're working essentially with a few people versus where you have a larger ensemble to work with? Like, what do you learn or what can you do that you can't in other type of movies?
Well, I mean, I don't know how many directors could deliver a film like this, like Luke did, on a $3 million budget or less, I believe, and 16-day shoot. Like I think it was 5-day weeks. So 15, 16 days he made this, action heavy, character driven crime thriller that, you know, I don't know what the final analysis is of the audience, how they'll ultimately walk out of the theater feeling about it, but I loved it and I was really impressed with what he was able to achieve in 15 days. And so you couldn't I don't think you could you couldn't do a more complex story than that in that time period. That's an insanely tight schedule. So the nature of it being in this classic muscle car with the two of them on this very tenuous ride, I think allowed for it to be done on such a tight schedule like that. But that's what I loved about it. I loved that it was this very tense but intimate, you know, character study, character driven. It also had intense action, but it had these two contrasting characters that I think were forced into this situation, and the audience sort of forced into it from the beginning with them, so that they're intimately along for this ride, relating to the same sort of anguish that the driver's going through, and through this amazing car, this 70 Chevelle, it's like this catalyst that bonds them. They wouldn't otherwise normally talk about any of these themes or conversations that come up, because driver wants nothing to do with passenger, and everything he says and does annoys him. But it's the car that kind of brings them together, which I love. And so all of that was present in the original script, and I just thought it was so unique and cool.
Now, what are some stuff that like when you read a script, such as this one or anyone really, what are certain aspects that like you read a line or read a passage or scene or whatever, like, oh, I got this. Like, what are some things that kind of you flag as you're reading a script?
Yeah, I think, like I mentioned, the themes of guilt and consequences and grief and addiction, and the dialogue that comes up between them because of their ride like fatherhood and morality and family bonds. Those things I could all identify with. You know, as a father myself, I was immediately struck by driver's dilemma of what would I do if I was faced with the decision of delivering this passenger to his possible demise, or disobeying the mob boss and facing the dangerous consequences that would be enacted on my family. It was just an incredibly difficult situation if you're to look at it honestly. And I hope that that's what, you know, audiences are left with as they're walking out of the theater. I mean, it's a simple story. I think it's a cinematic film, well told, but I think that's what I would hope that people would walk out, you know, and that would be the dialogue that they'd be having on the way home.
I think there's something to be said about movies like that. It's like you got the movies that get like overly complicated, and you know, it seems like we're putting more in, but that doesn't necessarily make it better. Sometimes you want like tight focus, and it's like there wasn't like too much, but it was focused and was really good at what it's doing.
You know, I kind of loved what Tom Evans, the scriptwriter, said about his initial inspiration watching Casino and was watching Joe Pesci being taken to the cornfield and this brutal beatdown by the baseball bat, and he was like struck by the notion of what would that car ride have been like? You know, a character being driven under false pretenses to his possible demise, like that. Wow, I'd like to explore that, and so that's really where that storyline evolved from, and I thought that was so cool. Because it took me back to that scene as well. And I thought, yeah, that would be fascinating. And so then it helps you kind of get into the, you know, each of your opposing characters, and then without giving, you know, away the third act, it's just, I thought it was just so cool as their ride progresses. You know, their relationship develops somewhat, and then he's faced with this moral dilemma, and I think that the tension, you know, is carried through the film, and I don't think it lets its foot off the gas for the audience in that respect. I feel like you're kind of you're in it, and it's a pretty good pace, and it has this kind of almost like graphic novel kind of tone in the rain and the night and the blues and silvers. I thought it was really beautiful, really cinematic and dramatic the way he staged it.
Yeah, I really liked how like kind of like what you're saying. Jamie Costa's character is like, "Hey, we're just doing another job." Yeah. Meanwhile, your character is like, "Gotta stay at arm's length. I know what's good about to happen to this guy."
But also too, he loves his car. It's just this precious thing in his life. You know, the only thing he may have left in his life aside from his child, and he wants passenger not to touch it, not to spill a crumb. You know, don't, you know. And I just thought, I love that. I love that he was so protective of his car.
It's like a dark version of Tommy Boy. But we have a what's in the box segment, and in this box we pull a movie out every week and then watch it for the following week. And we like to have people put movies into the box, and these are movies that might be personal to you, or maybe a movie that's like, this one's really good and no one talks about it. I wish more people would watch. What's a movie you would like to put in the box?
I love at Christmas time, I love Shop Around the Corner, Jimmy Stewart. Not a lot of people choose that as their, you know, as a Christmas movie. I just love it. But I think one that I have this poster on the wall in my office I love is Dersu Uzala. It's a Akira Kurosawa film that I absolutely love. And one of the reasons that I love it is I question whether the lead character is the inspiration for Yoda, was Lucas's inspiration for Yoda. So if you watch that film, study the lead character of Dersu and see if he doesn't remind you of Yoda.
Nice. Yeah, I haven't even heard of that one, so that's a great pick. But Bring Him to Me will be in theaters on demand February 23rd. It's a really great thriller, and you are great in it, along with Jamie Costa. Everyone should watch it. And Barry, big fan. Thank you for joining me. This is going to be the highlight of my week.
Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure, and I hope to speak to you on the next one.
All right.